Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for the Johns Hopkins School of Education Special Education Virtual Webinar. My name is Tanya McMillan. I am an admissions coordinator here at the School of Education. I also have my colleague from the Office of Admissions here with me today, and she will introduce herself.
Hi everyone, my name is Sion John, Assistant Director of Admissions here at the Johns Hopkins School of Education. Welcome.
We also have our faculty lead, Dr. Tamara Martyr, and Assistant Professor, Dr. Rebecca Cruz, joining us today, as well as Chelsea Heslop, an alumnus of the Special Education Program. Before we begin, I would like to cover a few housekeeping topics. First, today's webinar is being recorded. We'll be able to share a link with you after the event is complete. Also, please take a moment right now to ensure that your microphone is on mute and your video camera is off. Please always have your microphone on mute and camera off during today's presentation. There will be a Q&A session at the end of the presentation. Please type your questions in the chat box and we will read and answer your questions. I would like to share the agenda for today's webinar. We will start the presentation sharing an overview of the Johns Hopkins School of Education. Then Dr. Martyr and Dr. Cruz will go over the details of the special education programs, and Ms. Haslop will share her experience as a School of Education alumni. Lastly, we will cover admission requirements, go over financial aid and scholarship, and finally leave the floor open for questions at the end. Some quick facts about the Johns Hopkins School of Education. We are one of 9 schools at Johns Hopkins University. We began offering college courses for teachers in 1909 and then became our own school in 2007. We are proud to share that the Johns Hopkins School of Education is consistently ranked one of the top schools in education by the U.S. News and World Report. Here on this slide, you will see some fast facts about our school as well. For school enrollment, we have approximately 2,364 students and offer 27 graduate programs, which includes doctoral, master's, and graduate certificate programs. We also have a strong network of over 23,000 SOE alums. And now for our faculty introductions. Dr. Rebecca Cruz joined Johns Hopkins in 2021. Her research focus examines disproportionality in special education and discipline, and redefining the concept of inclusion from a perspective that considers disability, not as an individual trait, but as a product of political, social, and historical practices. Dr. Cruz has worked in middle and high school settings to develop co-teaching and inclusion models. Dr. Tamara Martyr joined Johns Hopkins in 2010. Her research focus includes improving learning outcomes for students with developmental disabilities and autism through effective training and preparation of educators and professionals who provide educational services. This includes training educators on implementing evidence-based practices with fidelity and preparing special educators in the field of applied behavior analysis. Dr. Alexandra Shelton joined JHU faculty in 2021. Her research focuses on improving literacy outcomes for secondary students with mild disabilities, including mild intellectual disability and learning disabilities via intensive intervention and teacher professional development and coaching. Dr. Shelton was previously a high school special education teacher in Baltimore City Public Schools, where she served students with and without disabilities in English language arts, reading, math, and science. At this time, I will hand the floor over to Dr. Martyr and Dr. Cruz. Welcome and thank you for joining us today.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to our virtual webinar on our special education programs. We are so excited to be with you today and talk to you about our programs and the different offerings that we have here at the School of Education. So if we can go on to the next slide. So First, I'd like to commend all of you for being here today because we have a shortage in special education. I'm sure you are quite aware of this, and it is a critical shortage. And this was even before the pandemic, and then we have the pandemic, which adds some more challenges onto education. But now is the time to start considering these options to commit to the field of special education. So we're so excited that you're here today to learn more about what we offer at Johns Hopkins in special education, and we're excited about your commitment to learning more about the field. So at Hopkins, we know that we need to have more special educators. We need to increase the numbers of special educators, but the one focus that we have is not only increasing the numbers, but also increasing the number of special educators who are well trained. That is really important to us, and that's the ultimate goal of our programs and what we offer. So how we can contribute positively to the field and ensure that we have well-trained educators. So if we go, you can go back to that next slide on the 3 areas. So if you look at the 3 pathways that we offer here at the School of Ed, we have 3 pathways to becoming a specialized educator in special education. So we have the mild to moderate disabilities pathway, we have the severe disabilities pathway with an emphasis on autism, and then we also have another master's, which is the severe disabilities with an emphasis on ABA, which is our newest pathway. And for individuals who are interested in finding out more about our ABA focus, we will be having another webinar on March 3rd. Today, we're going to be focusing mostly on our mild to moderate disabilities program and our autism-focused disabilities program. So, just in general, and think about our master's programs, our courses are all designed to be offered in the evenings, so it's really matches up with the working professional. So folks who are working during the day, the majority of our students are full-time, working full-time, and then they go to school part-time. So all of our courses are offered in the evenings, and they're offered in person at our campus, the Applied Physics Lab, which is in Laurel, Maryland. This is a centrally located campus, which allows folks to come from all over Maryland to come to our classes. Within each focus area, we do have a few courses that are offered online, and they're offered online asynchronously. So that means that you don't meet with the professor each week, but you are completing activities throughout each week. There's a set schedule and so forth. So that's all online asynchronously. All of our programs that we offer can be completed in 2 to 3 years. They are designed to be completed in 2 years. Sometimes it will take folks a little bit longer, but if you are looking to complete the program as it is designed, it can be completed in 2 years. Okay, so when thinking about going through our program and being prepared to be a well-trained special educator once you graduate, there are a few milestones, what we call milestones to graduation, that all master students go forward on. So the first 2 are our praxis assessments in special education. There's one in special education and one in reading that all of our students need to take if they are seeking to be certified state certification, especially in Maryland. So we are a Maryland approved program. Our mild to moderate disabilities program is considered a Maryland approved program for teacher certification. So all students would need to take the Praxis 2 assessment in special ed, general knowledge, as well as the reading requirement. All of our students also complete a comprehensive exam halfway through their program. So once they've completed the core courses as well as a few specialized courses, and this comprehensive exam is sort of a checks and balances and some knowledge that you have, the basic knowledge that you have that you've learned from the program. Then our 4th milestone, which is really one of the final milestones on the journey to becoming certified and meeting state eligibility for certification, is our culmination project. And our culmination project is a performance-based assessment that enables all of our candidates to meet the state certification requirements to become a licensed teacher in Maryland. And then the final milestone is for folks who are not seeking certification. So our folks who are in our autism program, our autism masters, which does not lead to certification. So most of those folks in that program are coming in with certification already and are looking for a specialization in autism. So those folks can do a graduate project and presentation, which is another type of culminating project where they're looking at a specific problem or issue within the classroom and creating solutions for those issues. So these are our 5 milestones. Again, you can see there are certain ones that are folks who are moving towards certification need to follow in order to be eligible for certification. Okay, next slide. All right, so let me jump in and talk to you a little bit about the Masters of Science in Special Education Autism Focus program, and then I will be handing it over to talk to Dr. Cruz, who will be talking to you guys about the mild to moderate program. So the focus of this master's degree is to gain expertise and specialization in working with students with autism in a K through 12 settings. There are a total of 12 courses, so that's 36 credits. 6 of those are in-person courses that are offered at our applied physics lab that I mentioned earlier. 6 of those courses are online. So half of the program is an online asynchronous, is offered through online asynchronous courses. Also, there's an opportunity to engage in one applied internship where folks are working with students with autism, have a supervisors providing them feedback on their practices. So it's taking everything that's learned across the 2 years of the program, practicing within a classroom setting, and being able to get feedback on your practice specific to students with autism. And again, this program can be completed in 2 years. And our next slide outlines, gives a list of all the different courses. So you can see the courses that have an asterisk next to them are online courses. All the other courses, which are core courses, are offered in person at our campus in Laurel, Maryland. So as you go through, you can see there's obviously a very heavy emphasis on understanding students with autism, from our survey course on autism to how do we plan for in-classroom instruction for students with autism? How do we address and teach communication skills as well as social skills? So really looking at some of those core deficits what we see in students with autism and how do we address that within a classroom setting. And then our next slide, I just wanted to point this out. We also have a graduate certificate in autism, which is just our 6 courses that are those 6 autism courses. So this is really designed, it could be for educators, administrators, parents, a wide variety of folks who are members of the community who want to gain more understanding and knowledge about implementing classroom-based strategies for students with autism. So now I'm very excited to hand the presentation over to Dr. Cruz, who's going to talk to you guys about the mild to moderate program that we offer, our Masters of Science in Special Education with a focus on mild to moderate disabilities.
Thanks, Dr. Martyr. I'm Becca Cruz. It's really great to be with you all today. Thanks for joining in on our talk here. So like Dr. Martyr said, I'm going to talk a little bit about our mild to moderate disabilities focused specific credential. Our goal with this credential is for you to gain expertise in applying specialized techniques across a wide range of educational settings. And so we do have a lot of folks who go through our program who end up working in co-taught classrooms alongside general education teachers. We also have some folks who go into some more specialized and specific classrooms upon completion of the program. So it is a Maryland State Department of Ed approved program. So you end up upon completion of the program with a initial certification for a generic special education credential with an emphasis on mild to moderate disabilities. And you can select in 2 different pathways. You could either work in elementary or middle or have a secondary focus. I'll go over the coursework a little bit on the next slide, but I wanted to emphasize here that one of the nicer things about our credential is that we do have 2 different internships throughout the scope and sequence, and you can complete those in your place of employment as long as you're working in a Maryland classroom that aligns with the level of credential that you want. So we have folks who are already employed as a special educator in an elementary classroom. You can do your internship there if you are going for an elementary or middle credential. So one thing that we wanted to make clear is that it doesn't work if it doesn't align, right? So we have some folks who've worked in like pre-K, early childhood, who are going for an elementary credential. And that internship wouldn't align with that credential. So we'd have to place you in a different placement. And like the autism specific focused credential, you can complete this in 2 years. You can, in some circumstances, take a little bit longer to complete it, but it's really designed as a cohort model. So everyone who's admitted at the same time kind of goes through the program in 2 years altogether. So that's sort of how the program's designed. If you could go to the next slide there. So here is our scope and sequence. Just like with the other slide, courses with the asterisk are all online asynchronous classes, and there are 3 of them. So all of the rest of the coursework here is really designed to be face-to-face learning. Some of these are online assisted courses, so you'll still have access to our online portal and get some materials that way, but they're really face-to-face classes that meet at our Laurel campus. So some of the important stuff that you'll get in this coursework are legal aspects. So instead of only focusing on instruction and curriculum, you'll also get some of the important legal background and historical aspects of special education that kind of impact our work today with students. So that's sort of our scope and sequence. If you could move forward. I wanted to talk a little bit about our SEDIT program. It's the Special Education Teacher Immersion Training Program, and that is a partnership that we have with Montgomery County Public Schools. And it's an option if you're already employed with Montgomery County or you're planning on becoming employed with them. And so it's a 2-year program, just like all of our programs. This is a cohort model. So it's designed for you to complete the program in 2 years and end the program with your credential with the mild to moderate disabilities focus. It's still the same prescribed series of coursework within the program, but it happens in collaboration with Montgomery County. So you still select into elementary, middle, or secondary adult, but your internship is in your place of employment with Montgomery County, and there are some additional benefits that come with that. So there's some partial tuition support. So if you have questions, if that's an option that you're interested in, feel free to reach out at any time to Dr. Alex Shelton. She is the one who kind of heads up that partnership for our program. So, yeah, and I will hand it back over to Dr. Martyr to introduce our guest speaker.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm very excited to introduce Chelsea Haslop, who is a graduate of our program in 2021. I was checking out all of the registrations for today. We're all so excited to have you all here. I think the majority of the folks are interested in the mild to moderate program who have joined us today. And Chelsea graduated from our severe disabilities with an emphasis in autism program. And she, but I'm sure she's going to be able to talk to you all about just in general of working full time as a special educator and going to school part-time. So she provides, she can provide you with some of that background and her experiences. Chelsea is a teacher at Ivy Mound School in Montgomery County, and she's also working towards her BCBA. And like I said, she graduated from Hopkins in 2021. So I'm going to stop talking and I'm going to hand it over to Chelsea, who can give us a little bit of a summary of her experiences. And then when we get to the Q&A at the end, you can ask her specific questions. Okay, Chelsea, ready?
Yeah. Hi, everybody. I hope you guys are all having a great day. And thank you, Dr. Martyr, and everyone at Johns Hopkins for inviting me to come and speak today. I'm really excited to be talking about my experience with the receiving my special education degree with the Johns Hopkins School of Education. It was such a positive experience. And I have to say, especially partway through working towards getting my degree, there being a pandemic, I have to say it has really allowed me to appreciate even more the education and experience that I got with Johns Hopkins and the School of Education. In starting my degree in 2019, I was really nervous about the balancing working full time as a special education teacher, and then also having the requirement of then going home and doing lots of coursework, reading a lot, having a lot of papers and things to write. I was very intimidated by that. But once I actually got into the program, I realized that everything that I was doing within the School of Education coursework that I was completing was completely supportive of what I was doing in the classroom. Whether it be creating lesson plans, IEP development with writing goals and objectives, everything was complementary and supportive to what I was doing. So it really wasn't doing extra work. It was like having support with the work that I had to do every day at school, or when I was at school, I was receiving extra special support with those stuff that I had to do at work, which was wonderful. It also was really nice because the program that that I work in is kind of specialized and a little different from the general education population or general education schools, with it being a non-public. So it was really nice as well to talk with my classmates and get a more comprehensive and alternative perspectives about how to run classrooms, how to plan lessons, how to work with colleagues and other professionals that you come in contact with. I think that that was such a special experience as well, because as Dr. Martyr pointed out, I was in the severe disabilities with an emphasis in autism program, but a lot of the other classmates that I had for some of the coursework that I took were in mild to moderate or other special education programs and receiving degrees in other things, which was really nice as far as, again, just that collaborative feel. And even with the classes that I was taking online, it was really nice and supportive. The class sizes weren't too big. So it was very intimate as far as getting to know my professor, getting to know my fellow classmates, which also helped with like any questions that I had. I was easily able to either exchange numbers with a classmate or email and get answers, collaborate, or even reach out to my professors and ask questions, get further help. If I was struggling on any assignments, they were always very willing, able, and open to working with me to help support me through whatever it was that I needed additional support or help with. Everybody that I met at the program, professors and fellow master degree seekers, were very understanding and honest about what we were experiencing, because a lot of us were transitioning from in school to the pandemic and then virtual learning, and then back to in-person learning, which was just really nice to, again, kind of think outside the box and look at the content that we were learning within our classes a little differently. Again, as far as like lesson plans, and through this whole time, the balance between what I was doing at work and what I was doing in the classroom was never one against the other. It was always very complementary and worked together, which was very nice, especially in such stressful times. During my time there as well, one of the things that I really appreciated was the extra time that a lot of professors were willing to provide, and extra time that they took to not just talk about the current content and its application immediately, but also looking at more longer term goals and future development. I had numerous professors provide me with suggestions and ideas as far as what to do next or what to do after I get this degree. The support was just wonderful in helping me feel confident in being a professional and presenting myself in a way that showcases a lot of the knowledge that I gained at the School of Education. I never felt that anything that I was learning there was useless or something that I would never use again. It was something that, even if it wasn't something that I could use immediately right now, I know down the line, it's definitely something that I'm able to draw on and use, which was wonderful. I really appreciated, again, the time that I spent there. My teachers were wonderful. The coursework definitely wasn't easy. I will not say that it was easy, but it definitely was enriching. And the work that was put in there definitely paid off. I could definitely say that everything that I did, I was able to immediately apply to the students that I was working with and to their benefit. And for many of us who go into education, we do this because we love teaching and we love the students that we work with. And everything that I gained while at Johns Hopkins and in the School of Education program, I immediately was able to bring into my classroom to the benefit of my students, which was so nice. So that's briefly what I have to say about my time there. Again, I can answer any further questions that you may have or more detailed questions when we get to the Q&A later.
Thank you so much, Chelsea. It is great to hear from you again. I think I will say I've sort of blocked it out of my mind that you were part of that cohort that had to transition to online learning in the middle of the pandemic, not only for your own students, but also in graduate school. So thanks for reminding me of that. And I'm glad it all worked out in the end for sure. So thank you for joining us, and I'm sure that our attendees will have some questions for you at the end. So if you can definitely stick around for that, that would be great. Let's go on to the next slide. I think this one is me talking about who is our ideal candidate. So oftentimes when folks are applying to the program, this is a question that we'll get. Who are you looking for this program? So in thinking about our masters with the focus on mild to moderate disabilities, the ideal candidate is someone who is really interested in getting that certification, getting that specialization, and working with students with mild to moderate disabilities. And again, we are a state-approved program. And then our autism focus master's degree are those folks who are already certified but are looking for more specialization specifically to students with severe disabilities and autism. Overall, our ideal candidate for the master's program is somebody who's ready to commit to the field of special education. Like we said in the beginning, this is definitely an opportunity, a time for growth within special ed. And so we are really looking for folks to come to our program and to make a difference within special education because of their commitment to the field. So not only commitment to a field, but also commitment to studying for 2 to 3 years, being able to commit to graduate school for 2 years of intensive graduate coursework, as Chelsea said, right? She's not going to lie. The classes were not easy, but they were challenging, so that everyone can grow and so that the students who graduate from our program are well trained and ready to work in the field. And some other pieces are demonstrating meeting of all admission requirements, which I think we're going to go over next, and obviously willing to work and study hard and put the time in. Okay, I think, I'm handing it over to the admissions office now, so I will be available for questions at the end.
All right, thank you, everyone. So now we're going to continue by going over the application requirements. First, a 3.0 or better cumulative undergraduate grade point average. Applicants must submit a completed application, which can be found on the school's website. The application fee is $80. Official transcripts from all post-secondary institutions attended. Again, this is from all official transcripts, including institutions you may have taken courses but did not receive a degree. An essay and a current resume, 2 letters of recommendation from individuals who can speak to your work in the field of special education. For the mild to moderate program, testing scores are required if your GPA is less than 3.0. Please visit the Maryland Department of Education website for a listing of specific tests that are accepted. Lastly, an interview. Applicants who meet admissions requirements will be asked to interview in person Zoom, or by phone to ensure that their goals align with the program's goals before an offer of admission. And if your degree was completed outside of the US, please keep in mind that you will need to complete a course-by-course evaluation. Additional information can be found on the school's website. And please note that both programs offer part-time enrollment only. Admission is not open to international applicants seeking an F1 or J1 visa for both programs. The current tuition for the SOE is $875 per credit for face-to-face courses and $926 plus a $20 per credit technology fee for online courses. In addition, the registration fee is $175 per semester, and there's an application fee of $80 when you submit your application. And please note, for tuition and fees, tuition will increase approximately 5% for the next academic school year. For additional information on tuition and fees, please visit the SOE website. And if you're interested in applying for financial aid, we strongly encourage you to apply for financial aid when you start your application. The School of Education offers a limited number of partial need-based institutional scholarships each year. And these awards range on average from $500 to $1,500 per semester. And they're applied to tuition expenses beginning in the fall semester. Please keep in mind to apply for the SOE Endowed Scholarship, students must complete the FAFSA form. To learn if you qualify for the Endowed Scholarship, please visit the school's website. All right, so at this time, we would like to open up the floor for questions.
Okay, I do have a question that was sent privately to me about location of where the classes are offered. If they're all in Maryland, in Baltimore, Maryland, or is there any online option available?
Sure, I can answer that question. So the majority of our classes are offered at our Applied Physics Lab, which is in Laurel, Maryland. And that's, I want to say about 25 miles south of Baltimore. So it's in a central location. So folks from Baltimore County, Baltimore City, Montgomery County, Prince George's County, all can, and a variety of other counties can come to that campus. So most of our classes, majority of our classes are face-to-face at our APL campus, Applied Physics Lab. They're in the evening, so after work. And we do have a few online courses, but the majority of the courses are face-to-face. But we do have a few that are asynchronously offered online.
Thank you, Dr. Martyr. Next question we have would be regarding internships. How many internships are scheduled and where are those carried out?
Sorry, I was on mute. So for I can talk a little bit about the internships for the master's in with an emphasis in autism, and I'll hand it over to Dr. Cruz to talk about how the internships are set up for the mild to moderate program. But for both programs, the majority of folks are able to do their internship in their place of employment. Our goal is we don't want anybody to have to leave their full-time job in order to do their internship. But we also have to balance that with your training. So if you are in a program where let's say you're in the mild to moderate program and you're working towards certification with an emphasis in elementary education, we don't want you to be doing your internship in a high school setting. If you are working towards a master's with an emphasis in autism, we want to make sure that your class that you're working in, where you're doing your internship, allows you to practice instructional skills with students with autism. So we wouldn't want you to be in a placement for your internship that was mild to moderate disabilities with no students with autism. So first and foremost, it's important that your internship matches the area that you are focusing on during your master's degree. So we try very hard to make sure that all of our students are able to complete their internship in their place of employment. If students are not employed, then we can place you in an appropriate placement, or if you're in a placement that is not matching your master's, we can work with you to find an appropriate placement as well. So for the autism program, there's only one internship because students are not working towards certification, but this is the opportunity to practice. I'm going to hand it over to Dr. Cruz, who can talk a little bit about the mild to moderate program where there are 2 internships.
Yeah, thanks, Dr. Martyr. So there are 2 internships. They're semester-long internships, and so you'll take an internship course that offers a lot of support throughout your practicum, and you'll be assigned a university supervisor who will come and observe your teaching and help you with this sort of growth in practice model that we operate with in our internships. So for our folks who are doing their credential, you need to do 2 internships. There's an induction internship and a culminating internship. Then we do have some folks who are in our program who are just seeking their master's degree and not a credential. So maybe they're going to go on and do research or something like that, or they already have a credential in some other area, they just want a master's. Those folks only need to do 1 credential. They do the induction credential, and then they do a grad project instead. And like Dr. Martyr said, we try our best to make sure that you can do your internship in your place of employment. So we just make sure that it meets the criteria that you'll need to meet in order for your credential. And a lot of our students go that route. For those of you who aren't working in classrooms or have a placement or working somewhere and you want to hang on to that job, but it doesn't meet all of the criteria, we do have some partner schools that we can connect you with and place you for an internship. So there is a summer option for that. So if you have summers off and you want to do your internship over the summer, we can make that work. So there is a little bit of flexibility within that process. But yeah, like Dr. Barter said, most people are able to do that in their place of work. So I hope that answers the question, but we're happy to clarify if not.
Thank you, Dr. Cruz. We just received another question, and it's relating to the master's program, Masters of Science in Special Education Severe Disabilities, with the emphasis in autism. Does this program lead to certification?
So no, the program is not part of our approved programs for certification in the state of Maryland. Folks who are interested in getting that initial teacher certification should consider our mild to moderate program. And for those individuals who do that, who also would like to get the experience from the coursework in autism, could also do our graduate certificate in autism. So we could talk about, if somebody is interested in getting that certification, we can go through what the options might be for doing the mild to moderate program, and then following that up with the additional coursework in autism. We've had a lot of students who've gone through the program in that way so that they can get the pretty much essentially the best of both worlds of having that initial teacher certification from the mild to moderate program, along with the expertise in working with students with autism.
And I see a question in the chat here, but I don't actually have an answer for it. I don't know if you do, Dr. Martyr.
I actually am going to hand that one over to Sayun because I know that she has a little bit more knowledge about the F1 visa status for the programs, because I know in the autism, because it's a part-time program in F1, I think visa is not applicable. I think that's also for all the master's programs. Is that correct, Sayun?
Thank you, Dr. Martyr. Yes, we're actually trying to just figure out whether, and this is for mild to moderate, we just want to double check, right?
Yeah, that's what it looks like. The question
mild
is.
to moderate focus. Bear with us. Tanya is looking up the answer real quick, just because you're for the severe disabilities, correct? For that one, the School of Education is unable to provide F1 visa sponsorship.
Yes, that's correct, Sion. For mild to moderate, that one we'll actually want to just double check that to be sure. For severe, it's definitely not eligible for F1 visas, but we'll certainly follow up in email with you to resolve the issue and the question regarding the mild to moderate program.
Thank you, Tanya.
I would like to say also, as we're awaiting other questions, also remember Chelsea's here if you would like to get some questions and answers about a student perspective. But also would like to just let you all know that, sometimes you finish with the webinar and you think of another question once we've all logged off. Please feel free to reach out to us. I think my email is provided at the end of this presentation. I'm also going to put it in the chat box. So feel free to, if you think of a question after today, after our time together, please do feel free to reach out. We're here to answer any questions that you might have.
All right, thank you, Dr. Martyr, Dr. Cruz, and Chelsea for being here and for the wonderful presentation. Let me move on to the next slide for important contact information. If you have any admissions related questions, here is the email address that you would use to send your questions. It looks like I see Dr. Martyr and Dr. Cruz include their contact information as well. Thank you for joining us today and your interest in the Johns Hopkins School of Education. We look forward to hearing from everyone. Take care, everyone.